Okay, so practice test. So first question, what is the sum of the degrees of the interior angles of a 41 gon? So I have no idea what a 41 gon would look like, but we use that formula. That's 180 times n, which is the number of sides, minus 2. So be careful to do what's in parentheses first. So this is going to be 180 times 39, which I don't know about you, but I need a calculator for that. So that would be 7,020. So number 1 should be 7,020. All right, number 2, if the sum of the interior angles is 2160, how many sides does it have? So for this, it's really similar. So what we do for this is 2160 equals 180 times n minus 2. So this is for number 2. So then divide. The way I start this is I start by dividing by 180 on both sides. Oops. Divided by 180 on both sides. So 2160 divided by 180 is 12 equals n minus 2. So add 2 to both sides, n equals 14. Number 2 is 14. Number 3, what is the measure of an interior angle of a regular decagon? So what we need to do is find the sum of the measures of a decagon. So that would be 180 times 10 minus 2. So 180 times 8, which is 1440. So that's the sum. But then in order to find the measure of, it just says an interior angle, so just one, you need to divide that by 10. So that's 144. Okay, so what is the sum of the exterior angles of a 31 gon? So this is a trick question. You do not need to do any work. It doesn't matter what this says. If it says sum of the exterior angles, that's always 360. Number 5, what's the measure of each exterior angle? So for this, you need to do 360 divided by whatever this is. So this is a regular pentagon, so a pentagon's 5. So it's 360 divided by 5. So 72. So these types of questions, it's just you need to read them very carefully, use the formulas, and you should be okay with those. Just make sure, again, you're reading super carefully. Make sure you're answering the correct question. All right, so for these are really similar questions to what you saw in the quiz. So I just changed some of the numbers. I wanted to go over these with you. So for this one, to find the missing angle, first of all, you need to find what the sum should be. So in order to do that, we need to figure out how many sides we have. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 sides. So that is a heptagon. So in order to find the total sum, we need to do 180 times 7 minus 2, which is 180 times 5, which is 900. So this total should be 900. So then what you need to do is add up all of these numbers. So 139, I'm doing this on my calculator, plus 120, plus 155, plus 110, plus 119, plus 120 is 763. So then to find x, so x equals 900 minus the sum of all these other angles. So minus 763. So 900 minus 763 is 137. So the measure of angle x is 137 for that. So again, you need to find what the sum is supposed to be, and then x is just, you need to subtract all of these guys. All right, number 7 is a really similar idea, just with some algebra in there. One thing that you can't forget is that this angle right here is 90. So some people forgot that on the quiz. So first thing you need to do is figure out what the sum of all these has to be. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have a pentagon, which has a sum of 540. So sum sum has to equal 540. So again, you find that using the 180 times n minus 2. All right, so if the sum is 540, we need to add all these up. So let's do 2x plus 20 plus 9x minus 5 plus 90 plus 10x plus 93 equals 540. All right, so then combine like terms, add up all the x's. So 2x plus 10x is 12x plus 9x is 21x. So we have 21x. Then we have 20 plus 93 plus 90. 20 plus 93 plus 90 minus 5 equals 198. So it's 21x plus 198 equals 540. Subtract 198 from both sides. So 540 minus 198 is 342. So 21x equals 342. Then divide by 21. X equals 16.28. So we'll say 16.3. So again, the key here is you need to find the sum. So this is a pentagon, so 5 sides. So the sum of the interior angles is 540. So then you just add all of this stuff up, set it equal to 540, and then solve for x. All right, for number 8, we have a regular 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So a regular octagon, and they give us one side. So we can find what that one angle is supposed to be by using this formula. So 180 times 8 minus 2, because it's 8 sides, over 8. So that will give us one angle of a regular octagon. So you find the sum and divide by 8. So if we do that, 180, so this is 180 times 6 over 2. So 180 times 6 is 1080. Divide by 8. I don't know why I said 2 here. I'm sorry. That's supposed to be 8. So the sum is 135. So then what we do is we take the 15x plus 21, set it equal to 135, and then we solve. So subtract 21 from both sides. 15x equals 135 minus 21, which is 114. Then divide by 15 on both sides. X equals 7.6. All right, so the number 9. So this is super crowded, so I'm going to erase some of this. So for number 9, we have a bunch of exterior angles. So the key here is just that you need to remember that the sum of exterior angles is always 360. Doesn't matter what the shape is, what the polygon is. So what we're going to do is add all of this stuff up and set it equal to 360. So regardless of what the shape is, if you have all these exterior angles, you set it equal to 360. So instead of writing it all out, I'm just going to combine like terms first. So we have 3x plus 7x is 10x, and then plus 4x is 14x, plus 6x is 20x. So we've got 20x. And then we have 6 minus 11 plus 62 plus 7 minus 5 plus 41 equals 100. So 20x plus 100 equals 360 because they're exterior angles. Subtract 100 from both sides. 20x equals 260. Divide by 20 equals 13. So x equals 13 here. I actually think that's the same exact question that was on the quiz. All right, so now this is a parallelogram. So given Jm equals 27, so let's see if we can fill that in as we go. So Jm equals 27, Ml equals 16, JL equals 46. I don't want to write that yet because that's going to get a little crowded. So this whole thing equals 46, NK equals 15, and then we've got some angles. So let's worry about the sides first. So if Jm is 27, then that means KL is also 27. And if ML is 16, then JK is also 16. All right, so now we want to find MK. So let's see what we can use for that. So we know that NK is 15. So this guy right here is 15. So that means this whole thing has to be double that. So the whole thing is 30. And we need to find NL, which is right here. And we know that this whole thing, JL, is 46. So that means NL has to be half of 46. 46 divided by 2 is 23. Right, and those are all the sides. So again, the key here is you know that opposite sides are the same and that these diagonals, they intersect at the midpoint, so they bisect each other. So that means one of these is half of the whole thing. All right, so let's erase that, and now let's worry about the angles. So KLM is 48, so KLM, so this guy is 48. JKM, so JKM is 78, so right here is 78, just that half. MJL is 22, so MJL, so this tiny little thing right here is 22. Find each missing value. All right, so we need to find JKL. So this whole thing is 48. JKL and 48 are supplementary. It's because this and this are supplementary. So JKL, so we need to do 180 minus 48, which gets us 132. So that means JKL is 132 degrees. KLJ is actually going to be the same as KLJ is the same as MJL because they're alternate interior, so that's 72. KMJ, so KMJ is all right, so this 78 right here, this is also 78. We know that this whole thing is the same as JKL, so this JML is 152. So if we do 152 minus 78, that'll get us what we want. So 152 minus 78 equals 74. And then KJL, so KJL is right here. So we know that this whole thing is 48. So if we do 48 minus 22, that'll get us 26, and this one's 26. I will tell you right now, because I'm sure you're wondering, on the test and on the final actually, so I can say for both, I will not put any of these angles. One's because I know that that's kind of hard and we don't really have enough time to practice. So I'm going to really try to just focus on like the sides, because I think that's a little easier to see. So if you're worried about these ones with the angles, I will not be putting that on the test or the final. So, all right, let's take a look at this. The algebra ones I do kind of like. So those are fair game, I guess we'll say. So we need to find x and y. Let's start with the x's. So we have 13x plus 15, 19x minus 9. Those are opposite sides, so we just set them equal to each other. So 13x plus 15 equals 19x minus 9, and then we solve. So I'm going to add 9 to both sides. So we have 13x plus 15 plus 9, 24 equals 19x. And then let's subtract 13x. So 24 equals 6x. Divide by 6, x equals 4. So those are the x's. Let's do the y's now. Do it a different color. So the y's are these angles right here. So those are not equal to each other. It's pretty clear to see that they're not equal to each other because this is a really small angle here. This is a really large angle, so they can't be equal to each other. But also because they're not across from each other. So that means they're supplementary. So we have 4y plus 7 equals, nope, sorry, I just said that they're not equal to each other. They're supplementary. So 4y plus 7 plus 10y minus 37. You know what? I don't have enough room. Actually, let's see. Do I have room to scroll here? I do. Look at that. Oh, man. All right, so that equals 180. So then we combine like terms. We have 14y. 7 minus 37 is going to be negative 30 equals 180. So then we add 30 to both sides. 14y equals 180 plus 30, which is 210. 210 divided by 14 is 15. So y equals 15. All right, so now we have some opposite angles. So these are opposite of each other. So that means you can set them equal to each other. So we have 5x plus 38 equals 8x minus 19. Let's add 19 to both sides. So 38 plus 19 is 57. So plus 57 equals 8x. Subtract 5x from both sides. So we have 3x. 57 divided by 3 is 19. So x equals 19. But for this one, we need to find measure of angle C. So in order to find measure of angle C, we're going to need to find either A or B. Let's just do, I'm sorry, not A or B, I mean B or D. Let's do B. So measure of angle B equals 5 times 19 plus 38. So 5 times 19 plus 38 equals 133. So I just plugged this x in to x here to find 133. And then measure of angle C is 180 minus 133. So 180 minus 133, which is 47. So measure of angle C equals 47. All right, so for 13, okay, so these are opposite each other again, so you just set them equal to each other. So 9x minus 1. This is actually kind of the same exact question as that one. So 9x minus 1 equals 13x minus 25. Let us add 25 to both sides. So 9x plus 24 equals 13x. Subtract 9x from both sides. 24 equals 4x. Divide by 4, x equals 6. But we need to find measure of angle D. So that's this one right here. So now I can find either of these and then subtract from 180, just like I did before. So let's find measure of angle C. So measure of angle C equals 9 times 6 minus 1. So that would be 54. So I'm using this right here. 9 times 6 minus 1. So 54 minus 1 is 53. And then measure of angle D equals 180 minus 53. So 180 minus 53, which is 127. So measure of angle D equals 127. Great. All right, so 14 and 15 are multiple choice. So we're back to some polygons. What is the sum of the measures of the interior angles of a 27-gon? So we do 180 times 27 minus 2, which is 180 times 25. Check that on the calculator. That is 4,500. So this is B. 15, if the sum of the interior angles is 2,340, how many sides does it have? So we do 2, 3, 4, 0 equals 180 times n minus 2. I like to start by dividing by 180 on both sides. So 2340 divided by 180 equals 13. So these are gone now. So we have 13 equals n minus 2. Add 2 to both sides. N equals 15. So that is C. All right, so we've got another one of these. Find measure of angle S. So step 1 is we need to figure out what the sum of these angles should be. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's a pentagon. So that means we need to find the sum. It's 180 times 5 minus 2, which is 180 times 3, which is 540. Oops, not 542, 540. So that means we need to add all of these up and set it equal to 540. So I could write this all as one big equation, but I'm just going to combine like terms as I go. So we have 5x plus 10x is 15x, 15x plus 8x, 23x, 23x plus 13x, whoops, 23x plus 13x is 36x, and then 36x plus 7x is 43x. So we have 43x, and then we have 2 minus 3, so 2 minus 3 minus 19 minus 31 minus 11 equals negative 62, and that all has to equal 540. All right, and then we just solve this, so add 62 to both sides. 540 plus 62 is 602, so we have 43x equals 602, and x equals 14. All right, so we found x. We need to find measure of angle S. So this is measure of angle S. So we just plug 14 into that. So 13 times 14 minus 31. 13 times 14 is 182, minus 31 is 150. All right, next question. We have a regular hexagon. Find the value of x. So in order to find the measure of each angle of the hexagon, regular hexagon, we're going to do 180 times 6 minus 2 divided by 6. So that's 180 times 4 divided by 6, which is 120. So that means we're going to take 11x plus 21 and set it equal to 120. So then subtract 21 from both sides. 11x equals 99. Divide by 11, x equals 9. All right, for 18, we have a regular nonagon, and we're looking for one exterior angle. So the key here is to find one exterior angle of any regular polygon. You take the sum of the exterior angles, which is always 360, regardless of how many sides it has, and divide by the number of sides. So 360 divided by 9 is 40. So x equals 40. That's it. So 19, measure of angle DCE. So we have exterior angles here. So again, the sum of exterior angles is always 360 regardless of the shape. So let's combine like terms. So we have 9 plus 7 is 16. 16 plus 4x is 20x. And then we have negative 31 minus 2 plus 33 equals 0. So 20x plus 0 equals 360. So then we just divide by 20 on both sides. X equals 18. So in order to find DCE, ooh, that's a tricky one. So in order to find measure of angle DCE, that is a linear pair with 7x minus 2. So first let's find 7x minus 2. So 7x minus 2 is 7 times 18 minus 2, 124. So measure of angle DCE is a linear pair with that. So then we'll do 180 minus 124. 56. So it's 56 degrees. All right, so number 20. If each interior angle of a regular polygon measures 168, how many sides does it have? Okay, so we're going to use this formula. Actually, there are two ways to solve this. I'm going to show you both. So we can use this formula for interior, for each interior angle of a regular polygon. So 180 times n minus 2 divided by n equals 168. And then we can solve this. So let's multiply by n on both sides. 168 n. So we multiplied by n on both sides. Then let's divide by 180. So 168 divided by 180. So now I'm dividing by 180. Actually, actually that's fine. So then we have n minus 2 equals 0.93 n. And then let's add 2 to both sides. Then we have n equals 0.93 n plus 2. Subtract 0.93 n. So n minus 0.93 n is 0.07 n equals 2. So 2 divided by 0.07. Something has gone terribly wrong here. I think I showed you a more confusing way to solve this. So I'm gonna back it up for a second. Sorry about that. So, okay, let's get back to this because this was fine. So now I'm actually going to distribute the 180 instead of what I said before. I don't want to divide by 180. That sort of led us down a dark path. So 168n. So I distributed the 180. So we still multiplied by n on both sides. Now I'm distributing the 180. So now let's add 360 to both sides. So 180n equals 168n plus 360. Okay, and now I'll subtract 168n from both sides. So 180 minus 168 is 12n equals 360. This is much better. Then divide by 12 on both sides. N equals 360 divided by 12, which is 30. Okay, that is much better. Now that's way number 1. Well, technically way number 2. Way number 1 was awful, so don't do it that way. This way is fine. So you set it equal to this formula and then solve. It's a lot of steps, algebra-wise. I will show you one more way to do this. So you can use a little trick that if the interior angle is 168, the exterior angle is supplementary to that. So 180 minus 168 is 12. So if the exterior angle is 12, you can do the sum of the exterior angles, which is 360 divided by 12, which is 30. So that's a trick. The other way is algebra. This is just using some logic about what we know about the angles. So whichever way works for you is fine. You get 30 either way. All right, so one last question about parallelograms. So obviously this is not 10 and 11, it's 21 and 22. So if measure of angle x, z, y is 68, and w xz is 71. Find wzx. Okay. I feel like I've done something wrong here. So xzy is 68. Wx and z is 71. We need to find wzx. Okay, this is what I did wrong. This is x, yz, sorry, x, y, z. So this whole thing is 68. Sorry about that. And wxz is 71. So this guy right here, so I was good about that. Find wzx. So we need to find that guy. All right, so let's take some logical steps here. So if we have this as 71, I want to find this because that is the same as this. Those two are the same because they're alternate interior. So here's what I'm going to do. I know that 68 and this whole angle are supplementary. So 180 minus 68 equals 112. So this whole angle is 112. So then if I do 112 minus 71, that leaves me this little green dot that I drew here. So 112 minus 71 equals 41. So this green dot is 41. Since these are alternate interior, that's also 41. So measure the angle WZX equals 41 degrees. All right, let's do the next one. So if XZ equals 8x minus 18, so XZ, this whole thing is 8x minus 18, and RZ, half of it is 2x plus 5. Find XR. All right, so RZ, if we do 2x plus 5, that's got to equal the whole thing, which is 8x minus 18. We can solve for x, so 4x plus 10 equals 8x minus 18. And then we'll just solve for x here. So add 18 to both sides, 4x plus 28 equals 8x, then subtract 4x from both sides. 8x minus 4x is 4x. Divide by 4. X equals 7. So then if we find XR, so we know that RZ, so RZ is 2x plus 5, and XR is the same thing as RZ. So XR equals RZ, and RZ equals 2x plus 5, so 2 times 7 plus 5, which is 14 plus 5, which is 19. So XR equals 19. The end. So that is your practice test. This is longer than what your test will be. Questions are a little harder. This kind of covers everything just to get you ready. So if you have any questions, just email me.